one of the older ones in there, and it was terrible start for Finkadel. He got stuck, I think, on the, as did Jacob Adam, but we'll go to the front now. That's Finkadel right at the bottom of your picture. In the middle, we could be looking at Argentina maybe. Or no, it could be Vold. There we go. One of the big players. Romalo with the backwards yellow hat, as he always is. We'll get names and runners for you as soon as we can. But it's going to be
a frantic dash off the start line as they head down
out there.
Through
Waves
the finish line.
Bigger than they look. Del Bianco's up there, James Russell's up there on the left-hand side of your picture, just out of shot. There's Pedersen, Romalo trying to get to Pedersen, but Vold's in the way at the moment. You can see how rough it is out there. Those waves are coming. They've got, Pedersen's got a wave deflector strapped to the front of his boat. He's done his homework. James Russell doing nicely. Burkett in there. Everyone in there. Rozolski in the red and white hat there. He's not doing so well. He's looking a little bit heavy for this. His boat is underwater. He's going down at some stage. Rozolski is not going to survive the first leg.
Pumps are going to be key today, Ivan, because there's no doubt water is going to be coming in those cockpits.
As far as I can see, Pedersen is the only one with a wave deflector.
Burkett's now alongside Mads Pedersen. He's come blitzing through the field. He was 8th just a minute ago.
Squeezes Vold into the back. Thompson from New Zealand, 5.66. He's a newcomer. They won't really know what to do with him at the moment. James Russell doing a sterling job on the outside, but you can see those waves breaking over the top of the boats. Vold in the pink hat, Romalo in the yellow hat, and it's packed in there. It's properly packed. There are all sorts. McGregor way out the back, out here with the guy in the yellow hat. He's struggling at the moment. But water intake is going to be a massive issue. Paufler there on this side. Martin from Spain also on this side.
I also have a feeling that the paddlers that spend some of their time doing river work and surf ski work are going to be more comfortable in conditions like these.
Yep, I think you're probably right. Although going upstream, they'll be tucked in the edge. There won't be the same degree of wave up there. Is Russell going to take on the blue boat there to get across to the lead? He is. The blue boat's going to have to fade back. Was that Burkett in the blue? Rozolski, he's moved across to the side. No, that's Wiskowski. Sorry, it's the other pole. 5.84 with him is Jacob Steele of Canada. Burkett really struggling, going out the back of the picture in the dark blue boat there. He's going down. He's just too heavy. He's having to back off. He's getting slow and slow. There he goes. He's going down right now. He's not going to recover from that.
Oh my goodness.
There's your first sinking. Was one of the big names. It's Andy Burkett.
A former world champion and one of the most prolific river racers of the lot. In a spray deck splash cover, he'd have been happy.
Just too many porches for that, but it's too late.
And there's another boat going down. The red and white Polish boat is also sinking. That's Burkett who's gone down. Burkett now looking for help there. That's his race run. Just too much water coming into that cockpit, and down he went. And when the nose started going down, it filled up dramatically quickly. That New Zealand boat's nose is starting to go down.
It's
Andy
all
Burkett,
over very quickly. When it happens fast.
So Burkett getting some help from the rescue marshal boats. Not the way that he wanted it. He'd been putting an incredible amount.
There's a white boat sunk back there as well. It is all going on. McGregor out to the left there. There's the pole.
That's Rozolski, whose race is run by sinking dramatically, just like Burkett did. And it's not the last that's going to be like that either.
No, it's not. There's going to be more.
And the conventional wisdom now would say, surely, even if you get a zip-up spray deck, it's going to keep you going in this race, or at least keep the boat dry so that you don't spend your race pumping.
It negates some of the value of being on some of the bigger waves, because your nose is already down on the waves. The water runs to the front of your boat that you've got in there. Leading's a good option at this stage. And you lead, and I would come across to the side where the waves are smaller. Yeah, you can empty that out. It's only going to happen again. Romalo, I think, sitting pretty. He's one of the smaller guys, the lighter guys in this field. So we've got Romalo, Pedersen, Vold, Russell, Sanchez, Vadel, Martin, Thompson, Palfler, Rodriguez, Dossi, Zavrol, Kolosvari. You don't want to be one of the big guys. There's your Canadian. That's Jacob Steele. He's gone down. You did see Hank McGregor making much better progress towards the front of this race in the last shot. I think he's going to be around now.
He's one of the heavier guys as well.
But he has got wave experience. There, the Argentinian, he's gone.
Oh, down he goes. You can lean back as much as you like.
There's McGregor in the colour grey boat with a pink sticker on the side. Jacob Adam out there as well. This is a war of attrition this afternoon. I think Pedersen, with his wave deflector, either had a crystal ball or he just took the time to go and have a look at this course. Away he goes. This is going to hurt. Russell staying very buoyant there. His boat looks nice and clean out of the water. Sanchez to the right between the pink hat of Vold and the yellow hat of Romalo. I think Romalo is going to be loving this. Both Spaniards in there, Martin and Sanchez. Wow, it's smoothed out just a little. The waves are looking a little less dramatic down this end. You're going to see a lot of people stopping to empty boats at the portage.
And that bottom turn is going to have added spice when you go side on to this wind and the swell.
Oh, is it ever? So we've got a good front group.
Here is that bottom turn for the first time.
That blue boat at the back looks fairly vulnerable. I don't know who that is.
Romalo leads him around the first of those turn cans. Look at the swell.
James Russell doing a draw stroke on this. A brave move to do that, but he's getting round well. Pedersen takes off. Nobody wants to see that.
Now the wind is behind them.
Look at the chaos.
It's effectively downwind.
Look at the chaos. Away goes
Pedersen cuts right across to the dry, to the safe water.
You've got to get across there fast. Romalo's tucking in behind him. Trying to work out with the sun in your eyes. It's hard to see, but I think it's Martin of Spain on the outside there.
Statement of intent from Mads Pedersen.
Mads knows he's got less water in his boat than anyone else with that wave deflector on. Romalo's struggling to close the gap already. Hungarian Kolosvari there. Sanchez from Spain. And Romalo doesn't seem. There's James Russell. Vold behind him. Just recovery time. That could be McGregor going around the left-hand side. He's working his way back up the ladder. Not sure what he's fancying his chances on the waves out there, doing a bit of surf ski, but these two are away. Well, I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't get away this early.
This early on an 8-lap race.
Yeah. Pedersen has no fear of distance or work, and he's going to get away. Martin's gone with him, and he's going to stay with him as long as he can. But so many of these boats are low in the water. But Pedersen, it seems, is in a class of his own. Finkadel there doing a great job. I mean, what if as your first international marathon race to be thrown into this is a
baptism of fire.
It's really heavy duty. Finkadel currently in 15th position, just behind Jokos of Japan and Dossi of Hungary. McGregor just in front of them. That's the Irishman.
Ronan Foley.
Yep.
Dmitro Glotov just ahead of him.
Foley well down in 28th at the moment. He would have been hoping for better, I'm sure.
Martin goes to the front. Pedersen cannot believe when he looks over his shoulder that there's just nobody there.
I think everyone's got half a boat full of water.
Well, they've got a full lap to go before they've got the opportunity to get to a portage and empty.
They'll be enter pumping that whole straight again with half a boat full of water already.
You got to pump like crazy on the upwind leg.
Away goes Pedersen again. Martin is going to have to measure his leads very, very carefully. You do not want
confirmation that Rodriguez has gone.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, Burkett, for what it's worth, is back on the water. So he hasn't abandoned it. He's managed to empty that boat probably alongside the rescue craft.
He's in 32nd place and 691 meters behind.
He's done. He's done. But
it's. I don't know if he's racing K2 tomorrow. Yeah, he is, isn't he? So I personally, at that stage, maybe I'm just a bit weak-minded, but I'd pull the plug. What's to gain from coming up through the field and coming where? He's got to do another down, against the wind leg yet. It's not over.
Prediction from David on the comments on the live stream saying more boats will sink before the portage.
Absolutely. I think David's dead right. We've got Pedersen, Martin, Romalo, Kolosvari, Sanchez, now McGregor in 6th position. Vadel, Russell, Erdosi, Thompson, Palfler, Zavrel, Jokos, Vold, Kippin, Cadell. Great job from Cadell to be up with these names. Biagini, Haynes, Del Bianco. And then after that, I think we just enter the territory of chaos.
Pedersen goes to the front now, taking over from Martin.
Well, here's a prediction. I'm going to put McGregor down for a medal because I think he's going to manage the rough water better than most. I think he's wiser than most, and he's just going to do a good job of race management.
And he's always been a proponent of race it as you find it.
He's not going to get gold because the gold comes from here.
Well, 8 laps to play. There's awful lot that can happen between now and the sharp end of this particular race, but
the gap can widen.
Right now, this is a statement of intent from Mads Pedersen. That's a flat-out start from the defending world champion.
Yeah, he's breaking away, knowing that he's got to do 8 laps on his own.
Yeah. Well, he's got help in Martin. If
he hasn't. He hasn't. Martin. Every time Martin leads, that average speed will come down.
Correct.
Because we train often doing 2-minute leads, and if the balance of power isn't perfectly measured, the weaker one gets slower, relatively slower and slower and slower. So as the weaker one, your leads have to become slower because you know when you're on the wash it's going to be hard. But then because you've gone slower on your lead, the other leads are even faster, and it's just a pack of cards.
And the board member of ICF, accompanied by team leader of Team Spain. And here are the winners. Third place and the bronze medalists, representing Hungary, Magyarország, Tamás Ivancsó. Second place, the silver medalist representing Italy, medaglia d'argento, secondo posto per l'Italia, Leonardo Candela. And now, first place, gold medalist and the world champion, medalla de oro, el campeón del mundo por España, Spain, Víctor de Besa. Ladies and gentlemen, please show the recognition for the 2024 ICF Canoe Marathon World Champion. Once again, here are the top athletes. Tomasz Ivanchuk, köszönöm szépen. Leonardo Candela, grazie. Victor De Veta, gracias.
Oh, goosebumpy moments
So
for the
here we
youngsters.
go, down to the bottom turn.
There's McGregor.
It's like a front group from 20 years ago, that one with Romalo and McGregor in it. And both those boys there in the new Nello sort of bulkheaded boat. Now they get the same amount of water in, but it will always be in the middle of the boat. It's when the water runs to the front of the boat that you've got trouble. So they've got a bit of an advantage, I would say. However rough it gets, that boat will not sink because you'll still have air in both ends. Kolosvari, big lad in the white boat. He's going to struggle at some point. There's the leaders still together. Martin and Pedersen, some almost 200 meters ahead of that chase pack. I think we'll see more sinkings as we go.
It's not the chop, there's a gradual rolling swell.
Yeah.
You'll see the boats are actually going over and dropping into a swell rather than a surface chop wave. Hank McGregor looks completely at home in these conditions, I've got to tell you.
Now sitting in third position, and I'm going to stick with my prediction of a medal for Hank McGregor. I think these conditions will just play into his hands more and more if it stays like this. We've got to have more sinkings on this lap. And people must have boats full of water out there. What must be unnerving in those new boats is that all that water is sat under you. It must feel like it's deep as deep. It must feel quite intimidating. People coming down the left side, James Russell and Palfler trying to stay out of the waves. It's a wise move.
That's a good move. It's
super smart.
Visibly the water is calmer down there.
These two away and clear.
Rescue boat is coming in just to add a bit more of side wave.
That's what we need, a bit more chop out there.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's really tough out there for the guys.
Okay, C1 medal ceremony. Time to recognize the efforts of these three women, and we'll try and keep you updated with what is happening in the waves here.
Accompanied by team captain, Team Ukraine. And the third place of the bronze medalist, representing Ukraine, Olena Tikhonko. place really soon. But first of all, once again, first place goes to Alina Tsikhankova representing Ukraine. And then we go to the second place, and the silver medalist representing Hungary, Magyarország Zsófia Kisban. Ladies and gentlemen, first place, the gold medalist and the world champion representing Ukraine, Lyudmila Babak. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor the world champion, please stand up if you're able to for the national anthem of Ukraine. Please show recognition for 2024 ICF Canoe Marathon World Champions.
So the long journey down to the bottom turn has been done by the first two paddlers, the others still heading down that way. The group we saw with Russell and Paufler caught up to the chase pack, and they are currently about 250 meters behind these two, who are just pulling away stroke by stroke. The first portage to come, and I'm sure we'll see on this first portage quite a lot of boat emptying. Those with the new ST are going to do well, because it's just a case of lifting the boat up and all the water's going to shoot out the back. Other people are going to have to stop and empty. So strong. I think, is that Burkitt going down the other way?
I think it might well be. Andy Burkitt racing with Hamish Ludmore tomorrow. They've been working really hard together. Pride at stake, though. There's
McGregor and Russell.
Hugging the reeds on the
Sanchez of Spain with them. Leaders still pulling out distance all the time.
One of the talking points from the paddlers coming down into the wind was that bold decision to head over to the extreme left to try and hide away from the waves. I wonder if that isn't going to be a trend for the remainder of this race.
They did well out of it. It was Russell and Paufler, and they caught up a lot on that group in the middle, and they've joined in with them on the journey back. So that second group now is Romalo, McGregor, Russell, Sanchez, and that's a strong group.
The only thing that comes into play is that rule about crossing the finish line once you've made that top turn. So
yes, you've got to pass to the right of the finish line and then come across. Pedersen just dropping around the back of Martin. He obviously wants to be on that side of the portage. Going straight through.
What does Track have their lead at the moment over the chasing bunch?
About 230 metres.
230 metres.
That's a solid minute, really, at this sort of pace.
Mads has kept up a pretty relentless pace for these first 2 laps. 8 laps like this?
Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah.
He's shown us he can do
this. He's not full on.
He's not flat box right now.
We've seen him better, not better.
The bulk of the first lap was close to flat box. And that's what set up this lead.
Martin hanging on in there for now, at least. He's seen his teammate Alonso do this before with Pedersen, so he knows it's possible. No Alonso in this race, which is kind of sad. You kind of think maybe we might not see him in the long races again, but he's been replaced by Martin, and he's doing a good job for Spain. Spain have had a good afternoon. This doesn't necessarily end well, though, because if Martin doesn't stay with the pace, if he gets out portage now by Pedersen, which is always a possibility, then he's in no man's land on his own.
Pedersen won't lose much by that. He's getting very little help from him.
Pedersen doesn't care whether he's there or not.
Yeah. So lap 2 at the start of a race that has just been laced with drama as the weather has changed here in the afternoon.
We haven't even had a portage yet.
The field's been completely
McGregor,
turned
Russell,
on its head.
Romalo and Sanchez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first portage is the portage we are all waiting for, and this is going to be 1 out of 8. Once again, we will try to explain once again that the practice we just managed to go through the winner's presentation, and the portage.
Hank McGregor in his near 40s. Still hell-bent on adding one thing to his career.
Surfski World Championships.
Surfski World Championships. It is a hot coal in Hank McGregor's hands. He just desperately wants to add that to his CV, at which stage I suspect he will probably take the foot off the pedal. But into portage number 2, Mads Pedersen leads Martin.
Both
Pedersen,
up and away well.
Smooth.
There were obviously pumps are working. Neither of them tried to empty the boat.
No water spilling out. No attempt to try and empty
Fairly pedestrian for Pedersen, this portage. They're going to come out of this together.
And if that boat is perfectly balanced by the handle position, whatever water that's in there will probably bounce out of the cockpit during the run. Pedersen.
It's impossible, I think. If you've got a boat with water in, that handle's never going to be in the right place. Not ever. The water's too slick at moving up and down a boat for a handle to be able to manage it. Martin has a bit of a chase on. He's got there, though. And there's at least another lap in these two. Nearly 300 metres the gap now.
Hugging the wall, now they break away to cut across into the choppier water and the top turn for the 3rd time. So the wind blowing upriver is going to negate whatever sort of effect. There's Hank McGregor leading the bunch out. Very determined looking Hank McGregor, and running is what he does best. No handles on that boat, he's just grabbing it by the cockpit.
No, there's a handle moulded into the cockpit.
Okay.
So it's a super, I mean, that's got to become a default design for all the manufacturers, I would think. That's, you know, just a no-brainer, really. The handle's so tidy on those boats. Romalo with a penalty. He didn't need that. It's been a tough week for Portuguese and penalties.
They've copped more than their fair share. Staying just to the right of the finish line, boys. And then, just as we were saying, gradually moving across into the center of the river.
But these boys have already survived 2 laps of this, so they know they're okay. Martin is not a heavyweight guy, and the other, Pedersen's got a wave deflector on. A little bit edgy around the turn for these 3. James Russell just heaving it round that turn, get back in contact with the group. Romalo about 30, 25 meters off that group. Romalo, no penalty for Romalo. He's just fixing something into the boat and a drink. So he just stopped
that
for
kind of adds up.
Little pit stop. We get quality information from Marcos Oliveira in the Houston, really, isn't it? It's space control in that room. They're the real deal. We just pretend we know what we're on. There goes Burkett up the other way. I mean, what a sight for Burkett to see what he would think of as his group coming down at the same time as he's going up. It's there's Rozalski, who sank also. Yeah, that left side of the river has a certain appeal now, doesn't it? Russell pressing on.
Sanchez looking comfortable in the bouncy conditions that they're dealing with here, as is Hank McGregor. This is bread and butter for him.
The Spaniards are not big guys. McGregor's got the advantage of that boat. Yep. Russell is big, but his boat is also one of the bigger sizes, so yeah, it looks quite clean and dry on that deck there. He's not going under too much.
He's got volume on his side, that boat, for sure.
Romalo also not a big guy. There's your leaders.
Mad's not one of the heavier guys, but the decision to race to that wave deflector is a masterstroke from him.
Absolutely.
Casey Haynes in the Australian colours.
Ronan Foley there. He would be hoping to be a bit further up in this race.
And Igor Wiskowski. That pace from Pedersen.
It's relentless.
It is relentless. And as we were talking about during the short course race, one of the aspects that he's introduced to this race is to come up with flat-out race for extended periods of a marathon. And you've either got the guns to compete with that, or you're going to go bang in one big mushroom cloud and be a spent force. Pedersen throwing out the anchor, letting Martin go to the front. He has at least got somebody to share the pull with at this stage. Look at that. They've got a...
The gap is crazy.
400 meters now, if not more.
It says 330 still on the track, but that's a long way, isn't it? That is a long way. Just in a different class at the moment.
It's hard to see, to be honest, in these conditions, it changing much. Yes, we're on lap 3, but it's... The capacity for a group to get...
All that can happen is that Martin blows at some point. That's the only thing that's going to change here. But I think it's settled enough for him up there. Solid group. McGregor, Romalo, Sanchez, and Russell.
McGregor's in that closed cockpit boat, but it looks like he's added a foam block of some sort in front of the cockpit. I love what Mads has added the full ski deflector, which is, as I said, a masterstroke, and it's working magnificently for him. I think Hank must have been scratching around the car
They had
park.
sinkings at the Europeans as well, so I chucked 6 wave deflectors in the GB bus in case it got rough, just for people to use if they wanted to use them. I've got them from the skis that I sell at home. 6 deflectors in there somewhere, and you just think at this point there's a couple of people out there wishing they might have put them on.
To me, that would have been not negotiable.
I think you just don't expect it. I mean, we competed at the first World Championships in Nottingham in 1988, and we'd sunk within 500 metres of the start. It was just an absolute nightmare. By the end of that, the safety boat was wrecked on the rocks at the end of the lake. Washed up, smashed up on the rocks. It was mad. And even then, we didn't wear spray decks because, I don't know, you're in race mode, you don't want to wear a spray deck. You can see the waves on there, up and down the whole time.
Once you're used to it, that zip-up spray deck is quick and
I remember
works.
getting to the first portage 8 minutes behind the leaders, and that was only a trip up the lake, 2,000 metres and 1,000 metres back. So in 3,000 metres, we were 8 minutes behind. It was a long day, that one.
Adam's got a fair point. At this rate, a lot of the field are going to get lapped and have to end their race early.
Furthest back at the moment in the field is 2K, nearly behind, 1.8K. That's Steele of Canada. A lap is 3, so yeah, it's still going to be a long way.
Very observant from one of our viewers. Romaglio, when he was in there, was trying to duct tape a wave deflector onto his boat, not add a drinking system.
Oh, I mean, to a wet boat, that's a big call, isn't it? Are you prepared to lose your group for that? He knows he's not going to sink in that boat, and he knows he can empty it out in the space of 5 seconds.
David asking the question: the boat that Mads is paddling, is that one of the new full bulkhead boats, or is it one of the
that's old school Cinco. So that's a couple of generations ago now.
No bulkhead in there.
I don't think so. Not unless he's retrofitted them. But he likes that boat. He's comfortable in that boat, and you know, people tend to want the new thing, the sharp thing, but the comfortable thing is the fastest thing. And Mads is happy. And who's going to argue with him?
It was noticeable here in training before the Masters started on Monday that when the conditions were choppy, there were a lot of big guns that were coming off the water training in their preferred premium latest version boat, thinking perhaps not.
That's midlife crisis males, isn't it?
No, but that's when the doubt creeps in, and you think.
But the doubt creeps in because you've over-egged it in the first place. I mean, we as a demographic, the middle-aged male is probably the most stupid on the planet. That's a big group now. It's closing up to be quite busy in there. So that is now, let me give you a name check on that. Russell, McGregor, Vadel, Kolosvari, Erdossi, Palfler, Sanchez, maybe Zavril, I'm not sure. Casey Haynes with Ronan Foley there. Through goes Romalo, Russell to his left. Sanchez to his right. McGregor tucked in the back. The other group is just behind these 4. McGregor has to drop back as Sanchez drops back. Denmark and Hungary is Kolosvari and Vadel. They're going to close the gap. The other Hungarian just off the back there are Dossi and Palfler.
Rene Larson saying, Ivan, I remember your finish in Bombay is 1988. Very close to sinking.
I mean, close, but no cigar. I mean, we made it.
Not quite snorkel time.
We made it. That was another one.
More inside information from David, who's obviously got an inside scoop onto Mads' boat. Does have bulkheads retrofitted into that Cinco.
Okay. So again, you've got the confidence of all the water in there at least doesn't go to an end.
And minimizing the amount that's going to be slushing around under your legs.
Well, Mo, you've actually got it all there under your legs. You still get the same amount in through the cockpit.
Yeah.
But, well, after a while you don't, because without the water going down the front, you don't weigh the front down. So Yeah.
The point is, it just minimises.
It just minimises it. It just and gives you the security that you know you're not sinking.
And psychologically, when you line up with 38 guys and there's 3 wave deflectors on there, you just get a feeling that you got an edge.
Yep. 20k to go. It's an interesting race and a race of attrition.
We would not often see a World Marathon Champs men's K1 race with 2 boats this far away after 3 laps.
It's hard to bet against Pedersen here.
Yep.
What you used to see with Alonso was he'd get to a point where he knew he could still come second and then just drop off the wash and finish on his own. Often at the last portage, he didn't even try to match Pedersen on the last portage, and he'd just cruise in.
Content with second.
Content with second, and you know, content with second is about where everyone is at the moment when Pedersen's around. He is a little step ahead of everyone.
Kind of defines a lot of the athlete's career. Where were you before Mads and post Mads?
This group's getting bigger. Dane and a Hungarian joined the existing 4.
So I fully buy into your logic about Mads' ability to keep this up for the next 5 laps. What will become interesting is if a chink appears in Martin's armor and he starts falling off the back and there's blood in the water, the chasers will now sense that there's a silver medal to be had.
Yeah, when you go on that situation. Yeah, we're assuming, or you know, that he is going to fade at some point, but he may not. Spaniards are always good. They've been good for a long, long time.
Question coming in from Anthony here. Is it not a rookie mistake not to have a wave deflector on in conditions like that? You've just got
with hindsight, obviously.
Exactly. The conditions did pick up literally after midday.
Yeah.
This is a 4 p.m. race. The reality is, and Anthony, this might be useful, some of these teams are staying a long way away. So the teams pile into a bus in the morning and they spend the day here. This morning it was beautiful. Wasn't a breath of wind. And they would have spent the day in the team area, in the shade, just chilling, relaxing. And then when the wind picked up to 12, maybe didn't have all the toys at their disposal. A lot of these athletes get into a zone, prep the boat 4 hours before the race. They have it sitting on a rack. They'll prep their kit. They've got their shoes, their shorts, everything sitting in it. And they like that to be there for hours before the race. And then they go into race mode, and it's processes for them.
This is very civilized, isn't it? There really is no motivation to break this pair up.
Mads has got the time to glance up into the crowd, try and make eye contact with his fans and his supporters. Whew, that often doesn't happen on lap 3.
You know what you're saying about coming across to the left, confusing the passing through the finishing line.
Yeah.
We've got 3 people coming in for penalties. 3 people coming in for penalties.
For crossing the finish line?
Yep. No, we're likely to see like 10 boats, maybe. 3 will stop it. No, it's confusing the message, but at least 3 boats have got a time penalty coming into the next portage. We don't know who they are yet. All at a finish line violation. Nobody wants to violate the finishing line.
How much room is at the Nordic here? I mean, if they're on the same bunch, it's going to be a mess. I don't think an ITO's ever had to deal with that many people coming into the Nordic chair at one time. Change of the pull going around the can.
We'll see if it's anyone in this group.
McGregor leading the group as they come into the portage. Here he comes. McGregor goes down to the right. Now that board with naughty chair violation, boat numbers is on it. Hank takes out nicely and early. We know he runs well. Everybody's going to have to... Oh, some contact on the shoulders there. Ooh, no love lost on the portage.
Boat full of water for the Hungarian. Marlow comes through.
Uli Hart seconding Hank McGregor. Very determined Hank trying to make this portage count.
A serious face. None of these Did any of these go?
Nobody's gone for the naughty chair as far as I can see.
Hungarian in trouble there. That's Kolosvari. 1, 2, 3. Russell's, he's okay. He didn't get a time penalty. Very hard to see if... There goes the Spaniard. McGregor with him.
Bryce Sanchez goes to the front now, with Hank McGregor content to just slip in behind him, having done the pull into the portage.
Waves are still big out there. I want to say it has calmed down a little bit. If you look out the window from where we are, it's not quite as hectic as it was. James Russell struggling to get around that boy with Kolosvari. It's 3 away. Then the group of 2.
Laos Gikos racing for Japan, former Hungarian, running past us to put in for the portage at 43, I think he is. Naughty chair time. Australia are down. There's the first of those.
Kippen.
Josh Kippen, who went through the finish line, and off he goes. Uber frustration. Does give you a chance to catch your breath, but you've lost the bunch you were racing with.
James Russell setting up the chase to try and close down that second group again. What was that? Was that Ronan Foley with her? I just missed the caption on the screen there. Finn Cadell, no, with a penalty for 15. So I think it might be Ronan Foley and Finn Cadell are the other two. Good close down from James Russell there. He brought the other two with him. That's Vadel and Kolosvari, but it was Russell that did the closing, and he did it quite nicely too.
And there's Mads Pedersen and Martin going into the wind, which you say it has alleviated, but there's a look at the way the boats are bouncing through that swell. It's still big enough to make water coming into the cockpit an issue.
They're not as far left as they were on the last lap, though. Through goes Martin.
Now they're like 500 meters, who's for a 4 kilometer, Martin Pedersen, they're kind of like 500 meters ahead of the other athlete, Pedersen, Denmark, and Martin, Spain. But there's a fight going on for the first place. The responses is Roman.
So, heading for the halfway point in this men's K1 race, with Martin trading the pull equally with Mads Pedersen at this stage. Reality is we've seen that Mads has got the turbos that Martin doesn't have, and it'll suit Mads at this stage, having eked out a lead of what we see is about 350 meters.
So 475 now.
Oh my word, it's nearly 500 meters.
Here's the chase group. Round the outside comes Kolosvari. I think he's struggling just a bit and just wants a bit of calm time at the front of the group. Spaniard taking on McGregor for that V. Came off second best, and he's going to go round and probably cut Kolosvari back into the V. There's a little bit of stress in that group right now. Here he comes round. Kolosvari drops back in. This time McGregor has to give way. James Russell just sitting just behind the group. He's got a lovely wave there. You can see his nose is low. You hope it's low because it's on a wave, not because it's full of water. But these two in a world of their own, in a class of their own.
The only ones doing sub 15-minute laps.
Republic of South Africa, going to the best athlete representing South Africa. But here we have McGregor Still currently the best 5th position, still fighting for the medals together with Vedel, Sanchez, Romano, Kulaswari. There's also Russell coming.
See the waves coming towards them, blown up the river Neretva.
So this group is a little bit muddled at the moment. It's churning round over and over. McGregor's organised it, so he's in the V again. Romalo will go around and take on the Spaniard, and that is an uncomfortable group to be in right now.
Johan Vedel of Denmark now coming up onto the side of that group.
No way. 3 more coming in. 5-8-2. Oh, that was Josh Kippin. Sorry.
He's gone through and paid his time.
Yep.
Martin's boat bouncing in the waves. That nose is clean out of the water at some stages as it comes up above the swell. Mads Cinco, for some reason, just seems to be... Oh, look at the waves splashing off the wave deflect. Withdraw what we said about that water abating. It's significant here.
Yeah.
Look at that wave deflector splashing every time he goes down and nose buries into a swell.
Casey Haynes is in the next batch. 5-8-6 is Wazowski from Poland. And 5-5-9, who didn't come in this time, who should have, was Ronan Foley of Ireland. So 3 more to come in on the next lap.
It's a fair point. The penalty board can't display 5 offenders at one time, as far as I know.
Yeah, I've never really looked at it.
I think it's based on 1 offender per lap. The board displays a number on the left and then the number of seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Brian will give us an insight into that bit.
Here's this group again, at least settled for the time being, with Russell on the wave of Romalo.
Okay, Ivan, take a deep breath here.
Yep.
Rene Larsen has just picked up something which goes directly back to what we were talking about earlier in the week, albeit off mic. Mads Pedersen has shaved off his moustache. It's gone, thanks to the abuse that you heaped on him.
Unbelievable.
I think you called him Denmark's Borat, and he's gone and shaved it off.
I think, yeah, I mean, if I'm responsible for that, I can only apologise.
It's working for him just nicely.
He's doing okay, even clean shaven.
See how highly thought of you are. Personal grooming tips. Next, you'll be dressing like you.
No, I don't think he will. Vedel from Denmark still leads out this group. This is finally settled. It seems like McGregor and Russell, well, yeah, there's McGregor right at the back, just content to pick up the cheaper seats at the moment. Left it to settle just to save that churn around. The 2 behind them is who are those 2 behind them? Dossi and Paufler.
About 100 meters back. Swell is side on as they come into these buoys. Champion buoys these. They really do a great job, but they do move either with the current of the river or the river wind coming up the Neretva.
McGregor off the back of that group at the moment, but he's concentrating more on the wind waves than the boat waves, using his surf ski knowledge, I think, there. And it's very hard to adapt if you've never done the surf ski stuff. You just want to position yourself exactly where you know you should, even if the wind waves aren't lining up with that. So I don't think McGregor's very stressed at the back there. I think he's fine. He just took a little bit of time.
Vedel will be happy on this group, but he's the least comfortable of them in the rough conditions, judging on that last lap.
It's, I think, yeah, and I think Kolosvari as well. I think he's the heavier one in the group.
approaching now to the next portage. I think it was Donkos. To byl zavřel si česká přejdou téma, but we're waiting also for Pedersen and Martin. There will soon be, after 600 meters, we will see the next portage of
David's take on the loss of Mad's moustache. Moustache down, another 50 watts up. It's aerodynamics. Fair enough. Hank quite happy to bide his time at the back.
Hank's very relaxed in this group.
I think he knows the conditions don't phase him. Mads' boat bouncing in the waves.
That's waves going the other way. That's
waves
from a motorboat or something. That is.
Yeah.
That's not. They're not the wind waves.
Rescue boat has been busy. In fact, the rescue boat is busy in the middle. I hope that is not another swimmer or another sinker. It might be. We have to try and get some details on that. I'll keep my eye on it.
Of those early swimmers, Rozalski's up to 27th place now. Burkett up to 20th place. And yeah, Burkett's close to a big group in front of him. He could get up into the top 10 before the end of this. So Vadel, Romalo, Russell, McGregor, Kolosvari, and Sanchez.
Gee, the glaring omission from the front of this race has got to be Andy Burkett.
He's moving through the field. He looks like he's set for a top 10 finish, to be fair. But, you know, you kind of... Why is the question at that point, I think. odds on that McGregor may struggle to close this gap. It's a fair distance he is behind Romalo there. Almost 40 meters. Just Romalo did the damage on the way into the portage. Now he's going downstream while McGregor goes upstream. That gap will only stretch out. And it's looking pretty bleak.
Yeah.
Romalo stringing this group out. Vadel trying desperately to hang on to him. Very much a now or never situation for those guys behind. Romalo, sensing a bronze medal, is in.
He's happy to go alone.
Here. Yep. Going back, Vadel and Sanchez are the only two behind him really. Then it's Russell and Kolosvari on their own, and McGregor, sadly, his day isn't going to be with Romalo anymore.
He's blown out of the back of that bunch.
More penalties here. Poland, Australia. The Australians aren't doing so well, are they? 15 seconds. Which clock am I? It says Casey Haynes. Going to come in on the last clock and leave with the first one.
I think he was.
There we go. Vadel is going to close that gap, I think, but there's a high cost for it. Romalo is pressing on. This would be a superb medal for Romalo as well.
He's looking comfortable in these conditions, it must be said. He's quick.
The confidence that boat has given you is. Foley, he's coming for his 15 seconds. Looks proper pissed off with it.
Yeah.
He's not even in any rush to get going at the end of it. I think when you're not having the race you want anyway, and then somebody stops you for 15 seconds, you just lose the will to live. Vadel's made his way back. It's been pretty high cost for him, but he's done it. So Vadel and Romalo about, wow, 50 meters up on Sanchez and Russell. So this is a solid attempt at a bronze medal for Romalo.
He's 3 laps up now, Ivan. It wouldn't be a bad thing for him if Vadel was to rotate the pool for 2 laps, because I think he's got the better.
He's got the portage in.
He's got the portage, and I think he's probably got the tactical edge on him as well. Adam's throwing a curveball at you in the question column here. Ivan, what do you think about a 10K K4 race at something like a Marathon World Cup?
Bring it on. I think we're looking at spectacle now. All our races have turned into great spectacles, and a K4 10K race at a World Championships like this, maybe you know, your short course but without the portages. Portages is just impractical. But your short course maybe without portages for a team event, I think would be awesome. I think that's a great call.
Those K4s work. I mean, those K4 races around the cellar are a great spectacle.
I think that's a great call. Why not?
Run with it, Adam. So we're an hour and 5 minutes into this race.
Still trading leads at the front. Hour and 5 minutes, only just over halfway. They're going to be about 2 hours for this. Last year, let's have a look at the 1 hour 57 for the win last, or 1 hour 58 essentially for the win last year. 2 hours for everyone else. So it's a 2 hour race and we're at an hour and 5 into it. Martin from Spain probably is thinking it's one of his lucky days here. Every lap he manages to stay at the front there now is a lap closer to at least a silver medal. You still have to favour Pedersen for a big, maybe last long lap and a short lap, or maybe you just go on the last short lap.
I think there was
still favour him.
There was a Pedersen plan which involved a long solo charge. I think the conditions maybe asked him to be a bit flexible on that, and to play it as you see it in terms of race strategy. The way this has landed up with Martin on his side as
That's why we went quiet. Information from the big cheeses. Or cheese eye? Is it cheeses or cheese eye?
No, don't overcomplicate it.
Okay.
Multiple of cheese is cheeses. I'm sure they would rewrite a rule somewhere and pass it with a unanimous vote.
So here's positions 3 and 4, and Romalo is definitely showing the intent to put himself at least in position for that bronze medal. The gap behind them is pretty big now, goes right back to Romalo and Vedel. It's over 100 meters back to the group behind them, and it's pretty solid effort from Romalo.
Question coming in from Dov Moko. Hey Dov. Ivan, Dave, please unpack the backstory of Adrian Martin. We don't know much about him. You've got to be.
I don't know much about him either. I can make something up, but I don't know anything about him. He's been around and he's been at the sharp end for quite a while.
And you've got to be hot to make the Spain team. So
he's taken Ivan Alonso out of the team presumably, and so you very rarely get a poor Spanish senior at this sort of event. So no, we can't really help you with any background detail, but.
Born 1990.
I'm sure someone from Spain who are listening to the feed might be able to give you a bit of insight.
Yeah, just give us a quick Reader's Digest profile on Adrian Martin if somebody can. Born in 1993, so he's 29.
He hasn't ever medalled before. He's had 4 starts at this level, so he's only, not been around for too long really. 2021 was his first World Championships that we saw him, so 3 years, the last 3 years he's been around. And he's always up there or thereabouts.
Adam suggesting he had an under-23 medal?
Oh.
Not according to the world's greatest spreadsheet.
Well, I'm not sure if this...
Under-23.
Yeah, when would that have been?
Julien Cabier says Martin is from Aranjuez Kayak Club.
Nice. We're getting the information in.
Thanks, champs of the interweb. Julien, merci.
He was 6th in the short course last year at the Worlds. That's from Marcus in HQ.
Well, he certainly put himself on the global map in this partnership with Mads Pedersen. There he is, sitting on the outside of Mads as they come up to the portage at the end of lap 5. And I'm pretty sure it'll be another one of those zero stress processional portages.
Well, there has to be a big one at some point. But you'll see that in the body language coming in. Mads will churn it up and up and up.
Julien saying he's training with a very strong marathon team over here.
Martin raced K2 also last year with Julien, and they were 5th in that. So yeah, he's up the sharp end.
Yeah. Thanks, Julien, for the info. Much obliged.
And Marcus, don't forget Marcus.
Marcus.
Top 10 in K1 seems to be his best K1 result so far in the long course. So this is a bit of a step up from that.
Really difficult question coming in from Bjarke.
Are they doing this deliberately now?
Look, it's a good time. It's a good time to confront these issues. This is yours, because I'm really not heading into this debate here, because we've been there before. But he asks the question: how do you think Pedersen compares to the likes of a McGregor in his prime, a Busto, or a Lawler? How would you fare against them? And it's one of these apples and apples situations.
I just don't like those questions. You know, every one of those people at their best would believe they could win this race.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what counts. And it's yeah, the rules change. We talked about it earlier. Pedersen's an on and on racer. I was a cat and mouse racer. You know.
Canada loving this.
Go Canada.
Oh, you good thing.
Good on him. Have some fun. You've just been lapped, and there's no harm in having fun. There is a gap here though between Pedersen and Martin, and we could see a change here. We are going to see a change here, because that's the real Pedersen. He's just taken off, and there is no coming back for Martin. Martin now has to survive 2 whole big laps on his own and a small lap. He's got a lead that looks unassailable, but there is no such thing as an unassailable lead. He's about 2 minutes ahead of Romalo and Vadel. But Romalo is going to be travelling faster than Martin now, and he'll see him on his own, and there will be a sniff of a silver medal for Romalo.
Those watching Track Track are saying that the Romalo bunch is actually closing in, and that won't be good news for Martin, because
it will not be good news for Martin.
He's there for the picking right now. And this is the image which is the dominant one in men's marathon racing at the moment. The Mads Pedersen flat box. And it must be a terrifying thing to have to line up against.
That is a man who is going to feel like the hounds are coming. There's going to be the trumpets from the horses. It's going to be a proper fox hunt now for that second group. They're going to see him, and what a boost that will give them. What we need is the distance between Adrian Martin and Jose Romalo. It looks, well, it's a bit confusing when they go around the turn, so we won't give you it until they're all on the straight. But here's Vadel. He looks like he's on his own behind Romalo. Romalo seems to be on his own now, and it's mano mano with Romalo and Martin. There it is. You saw, he's already looked across, and he's seen what the damage is. Romalo has game on for a potential silver medal. It's a long catch-up to do. He's got 2 big laps to do it and 1 small lap. And I think it's going to be a lot tighter than Martin would like.
It can't be fun for him.
Oh, my life.
that fake fuzzy rapid that they send down the track for greyhound racing. I just get the same sort of impression in my head. Romalo is homing in on him.
Oi, oi, oi. This, I mean, it's a long gap. It's a seriously long gap. We're looking at over 300 meters, the gap. So it's over a minute, the gap. But we've got 2 big laps to do. That's 6K. That's half an hour. Oh, my word. Untouchable at the front is Pedersen. Very touchable in second place is Martin from Spain. His whole world is closing in around him now.
And there's just a look of panic which has crept onto his face now.
I don't know why he's looking behind. I don't know what he thinks he's looking for. He's pulled 100 meters on Martin since the portage. It looks like 350 meters. Let's assume Romalo's on the straight now. The distance looks to be about 350 meters. That is a long, long way.
But the Mads Pedersen march continues.
Whatever happens, when Martin crosses that finish line, it is going to be with an empty tank. That is a certainty. It's whether he has an expression of relief or despair when he crosses the line. That's all that's at play now.
I think these last 4 laps alongside Mads has basically sapped most of that tank.
Yeah,
that little light that comes on when you're hitting reserve, I think might be on his dashboard right now.
Do you use 1 lap as a recovery lap, let the gap halve and then press on? But if you don't recover, it doesn't help. This man in a league of his own at the moment.
Now the man who has single-handedly reinvented elite marathon racing in the 2020s. He's also not afraid of mixing it up and doing a little bit of surf ski and...
No, he plays around at all sorts of stuff. $330 meters. We'll try and give you the countdown as we go.
Local time here is 5:30, so the shadows are starting to get long as they head down the Neretva. You'll see us looking into the sun.
Water definitely calming down now.
It is. It is. The wind is definitely abated and the water is calming. The damage, however, has been done to this field. But the ethos of play it as you see it has been best utilized by Mads Pedersen. There's no doubt about that. And that is
160 meter lead now.
Commanding lead you will ever see on lap 6 of a Marathon Champs event.
160 meters in half a lap on Martin. That's what Martin's visual is. His constant visual is of someone paddling away from him. That is not nice. Romalo at least has a visual of somebody in front of him or maybe even getting closer to him. The hounds are baying right now for blood for Martin.
Has he got enough to hang in for a bronze if the hound principle gets him?
If you blow big time. He's got a fine measure of energy out there. He's got to go along at the highest speed he can while maintaining some degree of reserve.
Pedersen somehow able to remain so smooth and so fast as he goes through the swell, which is still on the Naretva.
They'll do a lot of paddling on big lakes. The waves will be fairly, familiar to these guys.
And the plus is the wind is coming straight upriver here, so he's going directly into the swell. It's not as if he's got a side chop or an inconsistent swell to deal with. So Mads Pedersen, champion 2019, 2021, and that carnival atmosphere in his native Denmark when he was able to win in Lake Jels.
Yeah.
That was special. That was goosebumpy stuff. That was reading the script exactly as it was written for the Danish edition of the World Marathon Champs. Had the Vikings jumping up and down.
So Pedersen on his march home. Martin, he's still moving well. Maybe we've undersold him a bit. He's still got good rhythm. Boat's still moving with every pull. 281 meters currently. You can see. Can you see Romalo? Is he with you? He's still got Vadel with him, hasn't he? Or he didn't have last time. Hang on a minute. He hasn't got Vadel with him. He's on his own somewhere. He might be overtaking a back marker.
I think he is on his own.
It's coming up to 200 meters ahead for Pedersen now. Making his way upstream.
Now he's made the turn now, so he'll have a good chance to gauge.
Every portage he does will be a relief to him at this point.
So this is lap 6. 2 more full laps to come after this.
Yeah, Romalo about 150 meters ahead of Vadel by the look of it. So we'll see them coming down. There's the big group going down. So that's got to be. See who they are.
One of your fellow commentators from a few years ago helping us out here. And Stott. Martin was second in the cellar this year, paddling with Busan.
Very manageable pace now for Pedersen. That is not Pedersen at full throttle by any means.
He's still going to come screaming past one of the back markers.
It must be a little bit depressing when that happens.
Well,
will he shout at him to move him out, or will he go around the outside?
I think he will.
He's going up the inside, isn't he?
Just do what Andre Kanyatsi did in the Canadian colours. When you get your moment in the spotlight, milk it.
Oh,
Make it work.
Didn't he? You got to be proud of him.
That was
almost man of the match stuff, that.
World-class performance. There we go. He's going past Hiroki Shimogawa of Japan.
We didn't really make an effort to stay with him there.
No. I could be suitably overawed by the company, the unexpected company.
We might be down to about 250 meters on the gap between Martin and Romalo. So there we've got Sanchez, Russell and Kolosvari. In front of them you can just see Vadel. And about 150 meters in front of them is Romalo on his own somewhere. We will get him at the portage, I'm sure. But for now, he's gone stealth mode and avoiding all the cameras. He's gone anti-reflective. no one can find him out on the water, but he is there somewhere. You can see him in the graphic at the bottom, 5.75, and is almost halfway to Martin. I think he's going to catch him.
That's the race to watch right now. It's always a treat to watch this man paddle, but the race within a race is definitely the Romalo hunt.
Once again, we will really soon be able to reach
Pedro Rodriguez is absolutely convinced that Romalo can do it.
And this is going to be the portage number 5 of the day, and 2 more portages to go, and once again the small lap. And we
If Romalo comes out of this with a silver medal, that would be, I think, top draw for him. I don't think he would have been expecting to win this. I don't think, they're in the K2 tomorrow with Pimenta, and that's the big one that they would line up thinking of winning. This one he's lining up thinking of doing well, and he's certainly doing that. And that gap, I don't know, can you trust the numbers? 230 meters?
I treat it with a degree of suspicion.
If it's 230 meters when he gets back to the pontoon, that's 100 meters this lap. And there's 2 more big laps to do. And that puts him catching up at the start of the short lap. That's, I mean, that's very rudimentary maths. I mean, don't quote me on any of that. There you go, 230 meters, the difference. Oh my God, you do not want to be Spanish at this point. Pedersen looking almost pedestrian there, coming into the portage.
He uses these portages to his advantage. He's under zero pressure. He makes eye contact with his supporters, maybe family in the crowd. Whips up the crowd to a bit of a frenzy, just gives himself an extra emotional high. And he'll probably do the same again now. The man who is king of the hill at the moment.
Absolutely, untouchable.
When it comes to marathon racing. There he is, paddle up, claiming it for the crowd.
I think that was just to take his drink bag.
He's dropping his drink bag.
I think to go the speed he's going takes a degree of concentration. He might give you a big wave on the last portage, but I think to pop out of that rhythmic zone is not what he wants to do right now.
The portage before, we had a close-up of him, and he was clearly looking into the crowd to make eye contact, and there was a smile when he found I don't know who the lucky person is, but there was a smile, and then there was a half wave to the crowd. He can afford to do that. It's
so now the wait for the Spaniard. It looks to be about 210 meters now. The difference is just closing. There he is. He's running through.
Run, Forrest, run!
I think the big test is, will Romalo get to that end of the portage before Martin gets to the other end? Because if he does, that's only a small gap.
Mads Pedersen already comfortably
As impressive as Mads is, I'm bored with that now.
We know what's going to happen.
I want to go back to Romalo. Spaniard gets in. He's not. Oh, he's just. Oof. It's hard work getting that boat up to
respectfully
speed.
letting him get onto
That
the water.
says 200 meters now, and that starts to be a visible closing gap.
I'm looking at a visual corroboration of that, rather than the Mads. Don't go across the finish line, Mads.
That's a
there we go.
Slightly chaotic portage there. That's exactly what Martin would have liked.
No, he doesn't want. Got it down to less than 200 according to our tracker.
I think that's because we're going around the turn for Martin now, so you get that.
Oh, so it's relative.
Yeah, it's. I think. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But Mads, he's away and clear. Still waves breaking up on his wave deflector occasionally there. That says under 200 meters, doesn't it? That last. But then, yeah, we have got the turn involved there.
Yeah,
And there's delay with the satellite, so we really need a visual. And that's a lovely visual, but I'd love to sit with Romalo and see Martin in the background. So Martin is just about to pass us in commentary.
He's crossing alongside the finish line now.
I'm going to put the stopwatch on that.
He's looking over his. He fell in as he looked over his left shoulder.
Look, you don't want to be looking.
And as we said, the tank must be pretty much empty by this stage.
He's still shifting. He's certainly not dead yet. And Romalo made a fumble at the start of his portage, so he's tired as well. He's just coming down to the finish line now.
At a quicker pace. Visually, we can see that alongside us, that he's definitely got the edge in terms of sheer water speed.
We are looking at 53 seconds. It's a long way. 2 laps, 53 seconds. So we'll give you more time checks as we get them.
As Mans will get when he comes to claim his gold. Hank McGregor shrugged off the chasing bunch, is now leading the next bunch, just with the same sort of dogged determination.
That is in shot. That is definitely a more mobile man than
Martin.
Martin, yeah. Every time. So 16 seconds faster on the last lap for Romalo. I thought it was more.
With 2 minutes to make up, it's
that's
potentially
not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough.
It's not going to be for lack of trying, though. Look, and when you fold big time. So. Yeah, he's going well, Romalo. Look, he's sticking around that 15k an hour. $15k an hour, obviously, for those who do the sport, that's 4-minute 1,000-meter pace. Not many people can do that for 1,000 meters, let alone round the course like this, into the wind. I know they've got flow with them, so that helps, obviously. But these boys are churning on.
One of the things you may have noticed while we were taking our timing splits at the finish line here, after that flurry of penalties of people who are probably more concerned about keeping water out of the boats and staying out of the water, they've gone and parked the marshal's boat exactly on the finish line and discouraging people, from actively discouraging them.
Which I think is quite nice. I'm sure it's error rather than deliberate. You know, nobody's going to do that and hope nobody notices. It's right in front of everybody.
It's a great move.
Pedersen, relentless march towards the finish. But you can see on that graphic that the Spanish flag is now closer to the Portuguese one than it is to the Danish one.
You're a child of the 80s, Ivan. You remember Pac-Man?
I do remember Pac-Man. I was rubbish at Pac-Man, but this is very much a game of Pac-Man.
That's a Pac-Man game, but I'm seeing the little dots. And
Do we lose all? Was there only one Argentinian in this? He swam early days, didn't he? I'm just looking for, maybe there was a second Argentinian flag, but. Yeah, there were two, but I didn't see any flags on there, so maybe both the Argentinians have gone down. I was going to... No. Don't say it.
When in doubt, no.
I will not say what I was thinking. So, Pedersen got the little lure of another couple of tail enders. That will just keep his interest.
So before we whip up too much excitement, when we do the equivalent split at the finish line at the end of this lap, the start of the last long lap 8, what's a reasonable chase down?
For one lap?
For one lap, for Ramalho.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I think 30 seconds is such a visual. Yeah, that's a distance that your eyes and brain can cope with and measure quite accurately. There's Martin. See how his boat's running.
That diesel engine is still ticking over.
It is still ticking over. He's doing a bloody good job. It's he is still moving, and he's moving pretty well. It's on the first buoy of the turn.
They've got the measure at 148 meters now between Ramalho and Martin.
So on the downstream leg, it's hard to catch on a downstream leg. First buoy now. I don't know if we'll get the luxury of seeing Ramalho on that first buoy also. But at this stage, that's when the gap really feels like it's closing. When you're coming downstream, the other guy's going upstream. You feel like you gain a few seconds because you gain distance.
And he is scooting straight to the side.
He's doing a good job still.
I mean, you used the word relentless to describe Mads Pedersen in the most positive way. He, out of desperation and necessity, is being just as relentless. There hasn't been any sign of him showing us that he's spent or that the gas in the tank has run out.
Okay, so we're at 53 seconds now, so we assume Ramalho's already at that bottom turn. We're just not going to see him.
Must have missed him.
That's unlucky.
Kolasvarian shot. So we do a quick poll amongst those that are watching this on the stream. Silver medal, which way do you think it's going to go? Martin, Ramalho. Post your comments up here, we'll do a quick tally before it gets down to the nitty-gritty final sprint to decide who's going to get the silver, who's going to get the bronze. Nail your colours to the mast, good followers on the YouTube chat channel.
I'm going Ramalho.
Who's it going to be?
Because
Ramalho
it just
Martin?
adds to the spice.
I'm giving Martin. I believe in fairy tales. I think he's going to hang on by the skin of his teeth.
The thing that's helping Martin a bit here is the wind's dying down. So the journey is just a little bit simpler each time that happens. You can feel the boat running a little better when it's flatter out there. You get a bit more reward for your efforts. It's closing in about 150 meters now on track.
Early voting coming in. People want Martin to take it or believe Martin will take it. Coming up to 6 o'clock local time, which is why you'll see the sun dipping lower and lower to the horizon.
Dave, you've got complaints that your notifications keep going off on your phone and everyone can hear it.
It's yours. It's your pacemaker that's going blum blum the whole time. No, mine aren't there. That's yours, you muppet.
Yeah, no, it's not going off though, is it? Now I don't. We'll argue over that secretly off air.
Mine's on mute. Public apology from Lawler to everybody. I keep thinking his pacemaker is tripping up.
I don't think it is. I'm on mute as well. Look.
No, you're not.
I'm going to sit on it now in case it is mine. I thought it was yours.
Poor phone. Voting with my heart, I say Ramallo, but voting with my head, Martin. There's a nice firm assessment. Martin leading 3-1 at this stage in our voting poll.
Is he?
Yeah.
See, people vote with their head instead of their heart. We've got to have some excitement here. 130 metres, less than 130.
No, the final vote is clearly cast, though.
Well, there must be more than 4 people watching.
No, they're coming in. You've got to allow for the interweb to process these things.
140 metres. Oh. He is, yeah, hats off to the man. He is moving well.
And he's getting some banker. Is Hank McGregor pulling the bunch? Oh.
McGregor, Adossi, and Paufler maybe.
Thanks Toby and Adam for pulling Ramallo back into the picture. Jose will be most grateful. Adam says I could close that gap.
I don't think so, Adam.
At least that's Adam van Koeveren. Or
even, you know, still no. You wish. There goes Pedersen. He's just about to start his final big lap.
Smile on his face. He's not going to take juice. He is going to take juice.
Ever reliable.
Chat.
Second there. Carson having a little laugh with him.
A tour de force. Well, the man sizing up his 4th world title, but he's earned himself a place in the pantheon of the marathon gods, I'd say. He doesn't have the big number of wins that some of the others in the company that he justifiably keeps, but he will get there, there's no doubt.
He will have. He's got a bit slack on his portage in, look, 38 seconds. Adam could do that.
With a push and some help. According to Adam, maybe 2 years ago if he was having a particularly good morning. Relentless. Actually puts his pedals down as he goes around the penultimate turn can.
Maybe he's had enough.
He's going home.
It's done with today. Adrian Martin coming into the portage.
Okay. Good time to start the clock.
Still running well. I've failed to start the clock.
It's getting fresh juice.
The suggestion to all the beeping is, Dave, that it's your dating site going off.
Oh, it's my Tinder account.
Come on, Adam. Let's finish the job. A look back down the course. There
he is.
Oh my word, we're on the portage.
Game on.
Both times he's been slow getting out the boat there. Now he's got to run.
But he's much closer than he was on the last lap. This is a man on a mission now.
It is. He's taking his drink out. He doesn't want the extra weight. There's. Oh.
This is going to be huge.
Oh my
this
word.
Lap.
This is going to be brutal because at some point, if Martin decides that he can't hold him off, he may well stop and wait for him. and back himself in a sprint finish, because that would be his only option. So he's only got to break his spirit. He doesn't actually have to catch the whole gap. It's everything to play for, and this is super interesting. Sorry, Mads, but we're really not interested in what you're doing up the front, mate. Oh. Got the stopwatch ready for the boys opposite us.
It's Fox in the hair stuff now.
Oh, don't look across. It's not going to do you any favors. Oh, no.
Yeah. That's...
You can't pull harder, otherwise you'd be doing it already. You just got to keep going. Back to Mads at the front, looking a lot more springy than Martin was. Martin's just about to pass the boy now. I'm going to press go. 3, 2, 1, and we're off.
Meanwhile, on the screen, that runaway train called Mads Pedersen scorching down the Neretva. It's going to be his last
look across, man.
Last full lap. That's a very jittery look over the left shoulder, I got to say.
And here comes Romalo, and the gap is closed significantly. Too significantly, I think. We are down to 30 seconds. He's caught up 23 seconds on that lap, and there's 30 seconds the gap now. It's going to be touch and go.
Go, Adrian!
And I just think that the added psychological gain of catching up is going to be the difference here. And he does not want somebody with him right now. Just don't.
He's good enough to drop him in a heartbeat.
No, he isn't. Nobody. Everyone's the same speed at this stage of the day. Everyone is the same speed. That guy can stay with him all the way to the bottom, and just, I wouldn't be surprised if he turns around at some point and just gives him the full F and Jeff.
That's Juan Concha in the Chinese colours that are sitting on his wave and enjoying his moment in the sun.
This is going to be tight. Not for this position. This is not going to be tight. This is just impressive.
This is just,
as was his short course performance.
Impressive.
He's 400 metres
There he comes, look
ahead.
at him. He's got him in sight.
He's got one thing in his mind now.
That little red dot is on Martin's back now.
There's no doubt that Romalo is travelling better than Martin.
Is there a little enough water for... Get in there!
And from Chile, the Chilean just needs to exit the picture. I know he has no concept of where and what is happening out here, but the gap now for the first time sub 100 metres. McGregor running through the portage. I really admire what McGregor's done out here today. I really do. I think that is something quite special. To come along from where he has been to where he is really quite a journey. Martin still pressing on. Chile hanging in there with him. That gives you some idea of the decline of everyone over a distance like this. That's even possible.
He's being time trialed by the Chilean.
Martin is just thinking, that's the bloody bloke from Chile. I can't even drop the bloke from Chile. And he's being hunted down by Romalo. And the two things are just going on in his head the whole time.
Juan is secretly pacing him. That's what he was sent there to do, just to keep that pace really.
I don't think it's going to work like that.
There's not enough race time in this for me, for Romalo to
There is. He's going to catch him just before the next portage. Just under the 100 metres on there.
That last lap is going to be the longest short lap ever.
I think after the bottom turn, Martin is going to turn and look and put his paddles down and wait for Romalo. That's my prediction. I don't know why I bother predicting. I've been wrong on all of them. But hey, you know, we're adding to the tension of the situation. The votes are coming in more thick and fast for Romalo now.
Yeah, it's actually all square at this stage.
Is it? He'll have people on. They'll both have people on bikes telling them what's happening, but they don't need to be told. Look how close the Spanish flag is to the Portuguese flag on the graphic now. It's, oh man. Pedersen away and clear.
Are you going to claim a little of this because he hasn't got a
because of the moustache thing, without a doubt.
Aerodynamically superior.
Part of this gold is mine. With the wind at that sort of velocity, a moustache would have been a disaster today.
So I think the single reason why he's been more comfortable in these conditions has been superior aerodynamic below the nostril.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think he's in a position to deny it.
I don't think it's going to be the headline tomorrow, just to tell you.
80 metres. 80 metres. It's going to be paddles down. I'm sticking to it.
Look at that big swell as he makes that bottom turn.
Martin's going to get round this turn and he's going to think, I'm done.
So this is the downwind leg for Mads now. He's not that keen for a downwind. He's going to scoot behind the trees to get into the still water. But there's a decent swell there. If you get up there, I'm sure you can ride that.
Easily. It's not fast enough. That's the problem. Visually, that Spanish flag is going back to the Portuguese flag. I think we're on less than 70 metres. Less than about 65 metres. There it is. You saw it. That's the first time we've seen them in the same shot. There's overlap on those flags on screen now. There it is. If anyone's going to tell me that Martin can hold him off from there.
He can. Adrian, you can do this. This is the bottom turn for the last time.
He looks across to Pedersen. Don't look at Pedersen, man. You've got bigger problems. 67 metres. Oh. We'll see if we can get another time.
Come on, Adrian, get in there.
For you. Oh. This is brutal.
Romalo's stuck ahead on our
absolutely
poles,
brutal.
It's not quite as gloomy as that picture suggests, but it is.
It is if you're Martin.
You're painting an Eeyore picture for Martin. Not necessary.
The turn is another 5 metres worth. There's more overlap on the flags all the time on the graphic.
There he comes.
Boom. There's
first
him
turn
at the first turn, boy. We're not going to see. No, we're not going to see Romalo at the first turn can. But those flags are nearly halfway overlapped now on screen.
Ronan Foley of Ireland in shot a few moments ago.
Spanish flag gradually being overhauled by the Portuguese one. The distance now 20 metres. I think I was right on that bottom turn thing. Oh no, that might be because they're both going around the turns. They might be.
Yeah,
they're both on the turn on the graphic. I think the moment the Spaniard comes out of that turn, it's game over. 10 seconds the difference.
30 metres.
He's looking over his shoulder and he knows. We're going to see the bow of Romalo's boat any second.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. There is nothing that's going to stop that charge now.
Adrian, I've still got your back. You can do this.
You are in cuckoo land, Dave.
He's been saving some gas for the turbos and he's about to fire them now. Watch.
No
this is
chance. The flags are finally overlapping. That's exactly the picture of Romalo in that graphic is exactly how he feels right now.
He's coming up on the inside. Beautifully timed too, just as it
He's just going to take a little breather.
He's going to his wave just to rub salt in the wounds.
He might even get a lift to the portage, then he'll outrun him at the portage.
He looks around. No!
That graphic is exactly how Romalo feels right now. He's going to paddle past him now. Little look across, little chat. And job done. Can Martin even stay with him now?
That would be a negative, Ghost Rider.
He's not going to stay with him on the portage, I don't think.
No, and there's not going to be the dramatic incident out of this, I think.
Oh, no.
He's
definitely
been
not.
heroic in hanging on to that
has.
second place for 3/4 of the race. But he thinks the tank is empty there, so. Retain dignity and win a bronze. Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. He would have taken a bronze if you'd given it him before the race. Both these guys would have taken any medal before the race, I'm sure. I'd love to be on one of those bikes right now. You can hear the final countdown for Pedersen as he approaches the portage. One day when he hears that song, he's just going to turn around and go back. I can't paddle into the final countdown ever again.
Martin is keeping the pace up.
He's just teetering on the back of that wave.
There's some dignity involved in getting to the portage together.
He's gradually drifting off.
He's having to work pretty hard.
He's going to move across to the tail any second now. Oh.
It's hard work staying there.
No, he's going to stay, isn't he? All the way to the portage.
Who do you think that supporter in the blue shirt is there?
No, backwards cap to match Romalo's.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
But seems to be running more with the Spaniard, though. Romalo put on a bit of a turn of speed coming into the portage, and that will break the elastic back to Martin. It's currently Spain 3 and 4.
Martin's not thrown in the towel.
Yeah, he has.
No, he hasn't.
He's just going to be grateful for a tow round to the end of this race.
He has a cunning plan, my lord.
Yeah, just like Baldrick did. None of them were any good either. That is a heroic effort on his part. Well, both these guys. There's Pedersen getting out for his portage. Lap of honour for him. He's about 500 metres up on the other two. Couple of minutes.
There he is, a salute to the crowd. He's got every right to savour this. Fans he has in abundance, and a lot of them are sitting in the stands. A lot of them are watching this stream. The way he races, he will get opportunities like this to actually savor it rather than having to hang on by the skin of his teeth to win his races. So why not? It's been imperious. He's been an absolute juggernaut on the water and on the runs. Adrian hanging on to Jose as they come into the portage. Still got a way to go.
They've got a little way to go still, yeah. And I don't know, I think Romalo knows he's got this.
Yeah, he has.
Although what a turnaround it would be if Martin had a big finish on him at this stage.
We imagine a little penalty. Just
Oh no, you can't throw. Not throwing in a penalty at this stage.
Well, Adrian Martin has won a lot of fans, myself included. That was mine. My apologies. Romalo and Martin have provided so much entertainment in the final third of this.
Yep.
This race,
they've kept the interest levels right up.
Yeah. Portage
Here we go.
Right here. Both coming into the left,
Romano's
the right-hand side.
Uncomfortable getting out of his boat. Same again there. But he's going to be up, running a little bit of a knock on the back. But yeah, Martin's thrown the towel in.
He's so tired.
He's lost the will to live.
He's out on his feet.
Romalo is going to be second.
The crowd rises
and
to
what a brilliant second place that is.
in a race that was turned on its head over and over again.
What a brilliant second place.
It's going to be his third silver, I think. One of the tips we got from the chats confirms a third silver in this event for Romalo. See what the greatest spreadsheet in the world says.
He's already got 3 golds. He's got 3 silvers and 3 bronzes, so it's going to be his 4th silver.
His 4th silver. Update that, our anonymous contributor.
19 starts, 3 DNFs, and a whole load of top 10 places. Only once outside the top 10.
This race is effectively run. It's been a great spectacle. Must be said, the right result has
bottom turn. Oh, wouldn't that have added some spice? Just a little air stroke there from Pedersen as he looked over his shoulder. That would have spiced things up somewhat.
Bottom turn now on the short lap. He's now got less than 350 meters to go, but this is the race, well, the race that has been run, the procession now to complete silver and bronze. And that gap will open and continue to open, and that shouldn't come as much of a surprise.
Well, what a great fun afternoon that was. I feel really bad for the people who sank. That's not what they came for. Andy Burkitt being one of those. He should be up the sharp end of this. Everyone knows that. And he's going to finish in 16th place by the look of it, or thereabouts. But he didn't come here to finish in 16th.
Not at all. In the K2 with Hamish Lovemore tomorrow. That'll be good.
Yeah, Romalo was in the sport for a long, long time before he got his first medal. He had a string of 4th places. I think his first medal looks to be in 2021.
He'll be on the water for another minute or two, but in the center of your screen right now.
No, I'm talking rubbish. His last medal was, I'm all over the place.
Mads Pedersen comes down to the finish line. Your champion for 2024. World champion for the 4th time. The man who has defined racing.
Too easy.
In this current generation.
So I've got a right old mess with the medals from Romalo. We'll come back to that later, but it is 3 of each. And this is going to be his 4th silver, and I would say this is probably one of his best silvers. Certainly in the top 4. He's still got to negotiate the waves on that corner.
No late swims, please. So Mads Pedersen home as the 2024 Senior Men's K1 champion. Second place is going to go to Jose Romalo. Comes cantering past some of the back markers.
Shokos from Japan there.
In fact, he's chilling on their wave momentarily.
Why wouldn't you?
He's going to have to hit the deep water as he sets course for the 2 white boys that are the finish line here in Metkovic. That's what he does. Throws a little 15-degree to the port.
Hats off to this man. He survived for such a long time at the red-hot pace of Pedersen. He gained a whole load of distance, and then he just had to hang on, and he hung on for so long. Russell comes past the Spaniard Sanchez. This is for 4th place. 5th place, rather. No, hang on. 4th place. Top 4 for Russell would be his best result.
Jose Romalo has now got the finish line in sight. Silver medal number 4 is heading for his swag bag, and a very significant one.
He is going to be pleased with this.
His ground must of the day on his own, and he claims second place and the silver. Jose Romano.
Well played, that man.
And there's my champ of the afternoon.
That's someone who took his chances when he had them, and he made the most of what he had, and he just came up short in the last lap, but not through lack of trying. He'll be stoked with a bronze medal.
Yeah,
what a brave man.
Bronze medal for Spain. I think he's spent the whole afternoon.
One thing I was right about is that he would cross the line empty this afternoon.
And I think
that might be my one thing that I got right. James Russell holding off Sanchez for 4th place. It'll be a bit of a churn of speed, but we just watched him overtake Sanchez, so I don't think there's anything the Spaniard can do to harm him at this stage, but you never know. The fatigue's in there. The boys are a little way away still. You got Dane behind Vadel. Kolosvari behind that. Kolosvari good, yeah, well, 100 odd meters behind. James Russell picking up a little speed, coming into the finish. They'll come up to the portage and then turn left. James Russell hold him in.
Solid finish from Russell.
For as long as he can. He'll stay in as long as he can. All the time he's not being challenged. He'll stay left, right rather. Then the moment he feels challenged, he'll go left. Here we go.
And fires the turbos.
And there's nothing Sanchez has got in response to that. 4th place, and that is a phenomenal result for James Russell. Sanchez just hanging on.
Too little too late. It's a solid finish from Russell.
Great result for James Russell. Sanchez, he's cooked as well.
I think it's been tough out there today. It really has. I mean, people will have trained.
That's as hard as it gets.
They will have trained for the 30Ks, but the conditions today really added a whole bunch more.
Vadel over the line as well. Decent day for him.
Chile.
One of the lapped athletes, the Chilean, who would have got right on Martin's case going down that leg. It's not his fault, don't blame him. He just took advantage of a situation, but you just know. Kolosvari, maybe just a bit heavy for the day. Those against the wind legs with the waves, just too much for some of the big guys.
He knows another day, another place, he would be right up at the sharp end.
He needs help.
He's not good.
He's tired.
He's dizzy, I think.
He's asking for help there. He's cramping up. He needs assistance. The boat is coming for him. There's a lot of people out there today have had a very, very hard day.
Well, that goes back to the argument about K2 tomorrow. A lot of them are going to be committed to that race. I think he's being...
He wants to get out.
He doesn't want to even sit in that boat. He's taking the boat ride in.
There's a lot of shouting. There might be a big finish coming up from...
It's Hank McGregor coming down the finish line.
Come on, Hank. You've got this. No, he hasn't got this. So Hank McGregor just beaten over the line. Oh, it's Vold. I mean, you don't. I mean, of all the people you want to turn up at a finish with, Vold is not the one. Smiles all round.
Gracious in defeat.
And that's a big change from go back 15 years ago. You would not have said gracious in defeat.
No, this is...
That is a changed
first is
person.
First,
and yeah, that mantra that was lived by willingly or unwillingly, and to come to this point and be happy with that, that's a...
Yeah.
I admire that more than the performances we've seen.
It's the evolution of the man.
Yeah. 5.92, Zavril from Czech Republic. That was most definitely a war of attrition out there today. But no one more than Martin of Spain.
I have to check if he's slated to be racing K2 tomorrow, because I think he thinks he's done.
Jokos from Japan across the line. And next across, still a fair way back, is going to be one of our potential winners, Andy Burkett. Pedersen, Romalo, Martin, Russell, Sanchez, Vadel, Kolosvari, Vold and McGregor. Andy Burkett next across the line with Jacob Adam, Czech Republic there, locked in battle. Can hear the shouts.
A tough day for the
But
Burketts.
it is going to be Burkett's